ASAP Rocky just lit a match, and Drake might be standing in gasoline, because Stole Your Flow isn't landing like a song, it's landing like a public execution with a smirk. And the reason the internet is spiraling right now is because Rihanna didn't shut it down, she leaned in. 4 words, 1 comment, and suddenly Drake's silence feels loud enough to crack glass. So the question is, did Rocky just drop a diss or did he drop a trap? Everybody thought they knew the full story with these 3. The old chapter, the ancient history, the they all moved on narrative. That was the version everybody repeated like it was gospel. Drake had his little moments, Rihanna allegedly closed the door, Rocky acted like he never even looked back. But now Stole Your Flow drops, and it doesn't sound like nostalgia. It sounds like unfinished business that's been aging in the dark, getting meaner. And here's the twist. Rocky doesn't even have to say Drake's name because he did something more dangerous. He gave the internet just enough to do what it does best: connect dots, turn hints into headlines, and turn silence into guilt. Now the whole narrative is twisting, and it's twisting fast. Let me break this down, because this is where the "it's just rap" crowd starts sweating. When a record drops, the first wave is always vibes. People nod, quote the catchiest line, post the hook on TikTok, keep it pushing. But this time, folks didn't even make it to the second replay before they started saying, "Hold up, what does this feel personal?" Because Rocky didn't sound like he was flexing for sport. He sounded like he was aiming. And the internet picked out 3 moments, 3 pressure points, where fans swear the song crosses from competitive rap into calculated humiliation. First, that line everyone keeps circling, "First you stole my flow." Now listen, that's not the typical "I'm better than you" brag. That's an accusation, creative theft, identity theft, but for an artist. And whether it's true or not, allegedly, reportedly, all that, the impact is what matters. Because in hip-hop, saying somebody stole your flow is like saying you don't even have your own sauce. That hits different. Second, the Rihanna territory. Because fans swear Rocky didn't just mention her like a casual name drop, it reads like a boundary line. Like, I'm standing right here, you can't come past this. And then there's the one that people say is the most disrespectful because it's dressed up like peace. My baby mama's Rihanna, so we unbothered. Unbothered? Nah, that's not unbothered. That's a power flex pretending to be calm. It's the social media version of smiling in somebody's face while you twist the knife where nobody can see. And here's what makes it nastier. Rocky isn't yelling. He's not doing the cartoon villain voice. He's cool, measured, almost relaxed. Which is why the internet read it as psychological. Because when somebody's truly rattled, they over-explain, they do too much. Rocky does the opposite. He drops the line, then walks away like, if you heard it, you heard it. And now look at how this spreads online. Because once fans decide something is a diss, they turn into full-time investigators. Twitter threads, Reddit breakdowns, TikTok listen to this edits with captions like "this is clearly about Drake." They start doing that pseudo-scientific stuff. Bar pattern analysis, flow similarity, cadence matching. They'll be like, the cadence is 78% similar to Drake's 2016 Pocket. And you're sitting there like, how did you even calculate that? But that's the internet. They don't need proof, they need a pattern that feels convincing. And the most dangerous part, Rocky feeds that machine without ever confirming anything. Because when the interviews hit, when people start asking the obvious, Rocky's response is basically, this song is for whoever feel like it's about them. Translation, if you feel exposed, that's on you. And that's wild. Because think about it, if Drake responds, it's like he's admitting the shoe fits. If Drake doesn't respond, people say he's scared. It's a no-win setup, a trap built out of plausible deniability. And right here is where the temperature changes, because fans aren't just talking about lyrics anymore, they're talking about intent. Like, why now? Why this direct? Why this tone? And it gets even crazier when you remember Rocky and Drake didn't always look like enemies. There was a time it looked like mutual respect. Industry events, shared circles, that polite, we cool energy. So for Rocky to drop something that fans interpret as creative theft plus personal territory, that's not random. That feels like something that's been building, quietly, for years. And then, while people are still debating the bars, the next move happens. Rihanna steps forward. And that's when the internet stops treating this like rap beef and starts treating it like a love triangle with the body count, career-wise. Now let's get into the motive, because this is where everything starts clicking. People keep acting like this is just song versus song, like it's only about who raps better. But the internet isn't reading it that way at all. They're reading it like history, like tension, like a Cold War that's been running underneath the surface while everybody smiled for cameras. Once upon a time, Drake was the unstoppable one. Every year, new era, new sound, new meme, new cultural grip. Meanwhile, Rocky's always been respected, but in a different lane. More style, more aura, more I don't chase the moment. And that's where envy can get tricky, allegedly. Because envy doesn't always look like hate. Sometimes envy looks like admiration with a tight jaw, a compliment with a hidden blade. Now add Rihanna to that equation, and it turns into something else entirely. Because let's keep it real. Rihanna isn't just a celebrity X, she's a symbol, a cultural trophy, a headline generator. And people online have always treated her relationships like scoreboard updates. So fans have long said Drake never really got over it, not officially, not in public. But in the music, in the little references, in the timing of certain lines, people swear the breadcrumbs are there. And if you're Rocky, sitting there, actually building a family with her, how long do you let the world keep treating your woman like somebody else's what if? That hits different. And it gets even crazier when you think about hip-hop status, because Drake's the giant, but Rocky has something Drake can't buy. That cool that doesn't beg, that fashion world stamp, that art kid edge. And now, Rihanna. So when Rocky says unbothered, fans hear, I already won where it mattered. But here's the darker read people are pushing online. Rocky doesn't sound like he's trying to win now. He sounds like he's collecting on something old, like a debt. Like, you played with me for years, subtly, and I'm done being polite. And this is where the creative theft accusation starts getting framed as bigger than music. Because if you accuse Drake of stealing flows, that's a direct attack on the myth. The myth is Drake is the wave, Drake is the blueprint, Drake is the one everybody copies. So Rocky flipping that and saying you stole from me, that's not just disrespect, that's narrative sabotage. And the internet loves narrative sabotage because it turns one song into a whole courtroom drama. Now you got fans pulling old clips, old freestyles, old interviews. They're like, look at 2013, look at 2015, look at this cadence. And whether it's accurate or not, it feels like a case. And then the romantic side. Fans start lining up timelines like detectives. Rihanna was with Drake around here, Rocky popped up around here. Drake said this line in this year, Rocky wore that jacket the week Drake posted. And you're like, okay y'all, need sleep. But that obsessive energy is exactly why this is dangerous, because the public doesn't need confirmed facts to pick a villain. They just need a storyline they can retell. So when Rocky drops a song that sounds like it's about Drake, and then he refuses to deny it, he's basically handing the internet a loaded narrative. And then Rihanna appears in the comments, just a tiny nudge, and it turns into, oh, so this is real. Even if it's not, even if it's all perception, that perception becomes reality online. And that's why Drake's silence is being read as panic. Not because silence automatically means guilt, but because silence leaves space, and the internet fills space like smoke. So the motive, allegedly, reportedly, in the court of public opinion, creative pride, personal boundaries, and a long memory. And once those three mix, that's not beef, that's a grudge with a soundtrack. But here's the part that really hits different. This isn't just three celebrities throwing shade, because people online aren't reacting like, oh, fun, rap drama. They're reacting like they're watching somebody's dignity get played with in real time. And the reason is Rihanna. Not because she's a prize, but because the internet watched her get turned into a topic for years. A lyric, a punchline, a reference, a symbol. And fans, especially her fans, get protective. Because when they see men using her name as chess pieces, it feels grimy. Even if it's indirect. Even if it's just bars. So when Rocky says, "My baby mama Rihanna," people don't just hear flexing. They hear boundary, family, real life. And when Drake stays silent, some folks read it like restraint, and some folks read it like he's getting boxed in. Because think about the emotional math here. If Drake claps back, he risks looking like he's attacking a family situation. If he doesn't, he risks looking like he's scared to say anything because Rihanna is involved. And the internet is ruthless with that. They don't care what's fair, they care what's entertaining. Now add one more layer. Rocky doesn't sound heated. He sounds finished, like he already processed it, and now he's just delivering the conclusion. That energy is terrifying to people because anger is messy, but calm after betrayal? That's ice cold. And fans swear they can hear it in the delivery, like Rocky isn't asking for respect. He's stating a fact. My life is good. My house is solid. My name is mine. And if you ever thought otherwise, here's your reminder. And that reminder, it lands on Drake's image. Because Drake's image is built on being untouchable, always ready, always one step ahead. So when a narrative forms that he got ambushed, people treat it like blood in the water. And that's why this whole thing feels bigger than it should. Because it's not just lyrics, it's ego, it's legacy, it's who really won the era. And everybody watching feels like they're watching a scoreboard update, even if nobody admits it. Now this is where things get interesting, because the internet didn't fully explode until Rihanna did what she did. Under the "Stole Your Flow" visualizer, Rihanna drops a comment. I mean, that's it. No paragraph, no clarification, no "y'all doing too much," just that. And people online immediately took it as a cosign, like a silent yep, a public green light. The type of comment that doesn't have to say a name because it knows the internet will do the dirty work. And that's what makes it so lethal. Because if Rihanna wanted to shut down the narrative, she could. She could have said, "Stop making things up." She could have ignored it completely. But she didn't ignore it. She didn't deny it. She leaned into the chaos just enough to make it feel intentional. And the reaction was instant. People were like, "Oh, so she's picking a side. Oh, so Drake really is the target. Oh, so Rocky isn't acting alone." Now let's keep it real. A comment isn't a legal statement. It's not sworn testimony. Everything is speculation until confirmed. But perception-wise, that comment hit like a match tossed on spilt liquor. And fans started doing that thing where they overanalyze punctuation like it's a secret code. The extra letters, the exclamation points, the spacing. They're like, the way she typed it is basically a confession. And I'm sitting here like, y'all are insane. But also, I get it. Because Rihanna is one of the few people on earth who can shift an entire narrative with a single breath. She doesn't have to drop a diss. Her presence is the diss. So now the story becomes Rocky fired the shot and Rihanna stood behind him smiling. And then Drake's silence starts getting reframed, not as he's above it, but as he's calculating, or worse, he's stuck. Because fans are asking, if Drake responds, does he risk making Rihanna look like she was right? If he doesn't respond, does he confirm Rocky's power flex by default? It's chess, but played in public. And everybody watching is screaming their moves from the stands. Now, here's another layer people keep adding, the older moments timeline. Fans resurfaced older moments, Rocky's earlier jabs on Hijack, allegedly, Drake's Rihanna-centered lines on Fear of Heights, reportedly, rumors that Drake's Family Matters had shots aimed at Rocky, according to fan theories. None of this is confirmed like court evidence, but online, it stacks. It stacks like bricks. And the moment the brick wall looks tall enough, people stop saying maybe. They start saying obviously. So Rihanna's comment becomes Exhibit A. The lyrics become Exhibit B.
The past subtle lines become Exhibit C. And what do online detectives do next? They zoom out. They look at the industry. They look at relationships. They look at who's been seen with who liked what, who unfollowed who didn't show up to whose event. It turns into this whole conspiracy board energy. And the scary part? Even if half of it is wrong, the conversation becomes a force. Because brands watch, artists watch, producers watch, and when the public decides this is the story, people start moving like it's true. That's how narratives become reality and entertainment, not because somebody confirmed it, but because the room collectively believed it.
And it gets even crazier when you start revisiting the little moments that used to feel harmless. Because hip-hop is full of friendly competition that turns out to be not so friendly. A line that sounded like a compliment becomes a backhand. A feature request becomes a power test. A private comment becomes a public problem. So now, people are going back, rewatching old interviews like they're looking for micro-expressions. Look at Rocky's face when Drake's name comes up. Look at Drake's pause when Rihanna gets mentioned. Look at the way Rihanna smirks when somebody asks about that era. And listen, half the time these clips are nothing. A pause is a pause. A smirk is a smirk. Sometimes people just blink. But when the internet smells drama, it starts assigning meaning like it's getting paid per theory. Now, let's recap the core of what people are saying, because it matters for how this spreads. Theory 1. Rocky feels Drake's been biting his style. Theory 2. Drake never fully let Rihanna go in the music. Theory 3. Rihanna's comment is her quietly shutting the door permanently. And those three theories together, perfect recipe for a viral narrative, because it's simple enough to repeat, but messy enough to debate. And debate is watch time. Debate is comments. Debate is the algorithm licking its chops. Now, another angle fans keep bringing up is the timing. Why would Rocky choose this moment? Why now when he's already in a comfortable position? Family, fashion, respect? Why shake the table? And that's where people start saying the quiet part out loud. Maybe Rocky isn't responding to something public. Maybe he's responding to something private, a moment, a message, a behind-the-scenes disrespect that we'll never see. Because celebrities don't usually go this cold unless something happened, allegedly, reportedly, speculation until confirmed. But that's how fans are reading it. Like Rocky's not starting a fight, he's finishing one. And then people start dragging into industry politics, because Drake's camp is powerful. Rocky's camp is powerful in a different way. And Rihanna is a cultural institution. So now it's not just who repped better, it's who does the culture protect, who gets the benefit of the doubt, who gets labeled corny first, who gets labeled petty first. And honestly, that's why this is so explosive. Because it's not one argument, it's a bunch of old arguments stacked on top of each other until one song turns it into a fire. And this story is still unfolding with way bigger implications than just one record. What we're seeing here is how the internet turns entertainment into a verdict. Not a conversation, a verdict. Because the second Rocky dropped those lines and refused to clarify, the internet didn't just listen, it assigned roles. Rocky becomes the aggressor, Drake becomes the target, Rihanna becomes the final stamp. And once those roles get assigned, everything after that gets filtered through that lens. Drake posts a selfie. He's pretending he's fine. Drake goes quiet. He's panicking. Rihanna breathes. That's shade. That's the danger of online fame. Because you're not just living your life, you're feeding a narrative engine that never sleeps. And it's also a warning for artists. Silence used to mean maturity. Now, silence gets edited into guilt. A lack of response becomes proof. A lack of denial becomes confirmation. So if Drake is choosing not to respond, it might be strategy, or it might be avoidance, or it might be he knows responding gives Rocky exactly what he wants. A direct link, a confirmed target, a headline that turns this into a career-defining moment. And for Rihanna, it's even trickier, because one comment can shift public loyalty. And when public loyalty shifts, industry loyalty follows. Features might get weird. Awards show energy might get weird. Brand relationships might get weird. Because nobody likes being on the wrong side of a cultural wave. So yeah, this isn't just rap. It's influence. It's narrative control. It's who gets to be seen as the winner without even throwing another punch. So now, We're sitting in the most dangerous part of the whole situation. Rocky refuses to confirm the diss, refuses to deny it, refuses to back down. That leaves Drake with two doors, and both of them look like a loss. Door one, respond, fire back, drop a record. But if Drake responds, he risks turning "people are saying" into "everybody knows." He risks validating the whole narrative. He risks making Rihanna's comment feel like a public endorsement of Rocky's attack. Door two, stay silent. Stay above it. But if he stays silent, fans decide the story for him. They'll say he got ambushed. They'll say he folded. They'll say he's scared of what else Rocky might hint at. And that's why people keep calling this a trap. Because Rocky's framing is genius in a nasty way. Quote, if you think it's about you, then it's about you. So the more Drake reacts, the more he locks himself into the storyline. And the more he doesn't react, the more the storyline eats him alive anyway. And it gets even crazier when you remember, rap beef isn't always about bars. It's about timing. It's about optics. It's about who looks in control. Right now, the optics say Rocky is calm, Rihanna is amused, and Drake is missing. And in internet time, missing becomes losing fast. So the real speculation is this. Is Drake already recording something? Is he waiting for the right moment? Or is he choosing not to touch it because the second he does, it becomes a bloodbath that nobody can walk back? Because once this crosses into career defining, there's no friendly fade out. There's no "we squashed it" tweet that fixes it. There's no PR cleanup that erases the memes. And with Rihanna hovering over this like a final boss, the stakes feel higher than a normal diss exchange. This is legacy territory. Not even close, because Rocky already fired the shot. And Rihanna, whether she meant to or not, made it look like she co-signed the chaos. And Drake's silence? It's either discipline or it's damage control. Now, I want to know what you think. Do you believe Stole Your Flow was a clean ambush at Drake, or are fans reaching? And that Rihanna comment, be honest, was that support or was that just her being playful and the internet doing what it does? And if Drake responds, do you think he goes straight at Rocky, or does he try to avoid Rihanna's name completely? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I already know this one is going to split the room. And make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, because if another lyric breakdown drops, or if Drake posts anything even remotely suspicious, we're covering it. Stay locked in, stay sharp, and remember, in hip-hop, the scariest diss isn't the loud one. It's the one that lets the internet finish the sentence.